What's up, everybody? Today, the topic is it time to move on? One of my passions is helping people to see their way through in their relationships. And so we're going to be talking about that today. If you have a question about your relationship or any relationship, or you're just wondering, leave me a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer the question for you. But is it time to move on? Or should you stay put? And now, today, this could be your professional relationship, your personal relationship, relationships with your family. Is it time to move on? Or should you stay put? What's happening in your relationship? Is it time to move on yet? Should you stay put? I am excited to announce also that today, I got the surprise of my life, and my team sent back the ebook. They sent it back to me. I'm so happy, right? And the name of the ebook is this same title of this live. It's time to move on. 5 deal breakers, 5 relationship deal breakers that let you know it's time to go. The new ebook is out, and I am so thankful for it, because this one is a good one. It is going to be something that helps a lot of people. And one of the comments that I got from my team as we were going back and forth over some edits and so on and so forth is how much it helped them. You just never know. There are people who are in relationships, and whether it's a professional relationship or a personal relationship, even a marriage or boyfriend or girlfriend or fiance or your family, right? Or even a professional relationship. There are relationships that people are in that they are struggling, right? Should they stay on this job? Should they stay in this relationship? Should they continue to live with this person? I had a person that asked a question. It was last week or the week before last. They had been in this relationship for a while. The two people lived together, but they had not been intimate in 2 years. Why on earth would you stay in a relationship with anybody if you desire intimacy and the person keeps it away from you? So I was wondering, what is the person unable to be intimate? No, they're making a choice, and the response of this person was that person lives outside in a trailer. They decide to live in the mobile home away from them. That, to me, that's not going to happen. I often talk about my relationship rules, and one of my relationship rules is I'm not sleeping on the couch. I'm not, right? You might want to sleep on the couch, but I'm not sleeping on the couch, right? Because there's no argument that can't be settled by a simple conversation unless you're talking to the wrong person. Okay? So if you want this ebook, I want you to click the link in my bio. If you're having challenges with you, there are questions you're asking yourself, and you can ask me a question here in the comment section. I'll answer it for you. Should I keep going, or is it time for me to move on? Is it time for me to move on away from my current relationship? Now, let me say this. I am 100% for relationships. I'm a relationship guy, meaning my preference is to be in a relationship and not to be single. And to be more specific, my preference is to be married, which I am, because I enjoy building a life and family with someone. That's who I am. I was single, obviously, before my first marriage. I was single for 5 years between my first marriage and my current marriage now. And I know, so I was single when I was young, and I was single in my 40s. The single life is not for me. It's not. It might be for you. It might be for some other people, but the single life is not to me. How you doing, black girl? When you say it's time to move on, are you saying it's time to move on for you and your relationship? Because this book will help you. Is it time to move on? So I'm going to ask that you click the link in the bio and get that ebook resource right now. It's just $8.99. That's all it is, right? Now, this book came 70, 80, 90% of this book, the writing of this book, came from my personal experience. And the other 10%, 15% came from me helping to coach other people through the same kind of situation. Is it time to move on? Here's a funny story. So I was married. My first marriage was 28 years, and I was in that marriage for 25, separated for 3. And people ask me this question all the time. Well, were you in a relationship for 25 years? Why did you stay so long? Well, there's a couple of reasons. And people get into relationships for, the name of the book is called, I guess, Lev. The name of the book is It's Time to Move On, 5 Relationship Deal Breakers that let you know it's time to go. So click the link in my bio. You can download this ebook right now. You can read it for yourself, and you can ask yourself the questions. And this is what I ask in the ebook. You know, am I in this situation? You can ask yourself the question, am I in this situation, and should I cut and run? Right? I have people ask me that all the time. Should I leave? Should I go? Should I stay? Right? Now, let me explain this to you. So I was in a relationship for 25 years, 28 years, married 25 years, and it ended in divorce. I talked yesterday on live about why I chose to divorce in that relationship. I then got into a relationship with someone and was in that relationship for 3 years, and I shouldn't have been in that relationship for 3 weeks, right? But there was a reason why. There were some things that I was working on, some things I didn't understand. I was mismatched with that person. And this book is part of the lessons that I learned in that relationship that made me say, oh, hell no. No. I'm not dealing with that. And so it came down to, these are some deal breakers that happened, right? It's James. I have videos on anxiety, right? Being anxious. And we'll talk about that today, right? In fact, I'll talk about anxiety if you want to, if you have a question about that. But I'll talk about how to control your anxiety and what it is. So remind me to get back to that. But so I was in this relationship, and man, it was a beautiful girl. She was sexy, all those fit, all that kind of stuff. And I just come out of a relationship, had been in the relationship for quite a while. And I said, there were some things that were going on that normally I would have just, I would have been out, right? But it finally came down to one thing that happened, and I said, you know what? I got to ask myself this question, right? If this continued, if nothing changed in this relationship with this person, if nothing changed, would I be willing to live like this for the next 25 years, be married to this person for the next 20? The answer came back quickly. No, I wasn't. So in 24 hours, I was gone. We were living together. I found other living arrangements, and I was out, right? There were some deal breakers. Some things that, no, ma'am. I'm a good guy. I'm a loving guy. I'm a husband. I'm a provider. That's who I am. I'm a protector. That's just who I am, right? I'm not perfect. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, right? And there are some things that I do that are deal breakers for some people. So that's cool. I'm cool with that. But you got to establish for yourself, is that acceptable? This book is going to help you to not just look at these 5 things, right? But other things that are happening. What are some deal breakers that are happening in your personal relationship? Guys with you. You say, hey, I want to be married, but the guy hasn't proposed to you, and it's been 3 years, and he keeps promising that he is. Is that a deal breaker? Maybe the person cheated. That may be a deal breaker for you. For me, a deal breaker, and it's not in his book, but one of the deal breakers is you can never say you don't want to be with me. You can never say I want a divorce. I don't want to be with. I want to break up, because that's it. It's over, right? I mean, I don't care how much I love you. I can never trust that you're not going to say that again. So it's over for me. And I established that in the very beginning. I say that here's something that you can never say to me. And here's why, right? Because I will not have the confidence. If you tell me that you don't want to be with me, if you tell me you want a divorce, if you tell me it's over, then I can never, ever believe that that's not going to be part of what it is you want, right? And I'm out. So how you doing, Sandra? So we'll talk about anxiety. We'll talk about relationship breakups, but I want you to go get this ebook right now. So just click the link in my bio. It'll take you straight to the Etsy store. You'll see this book and other book titles. And I want you to buy it now, right? I want you to invest in yourself, and I want you to buy it. I talk a lot about investing in yourself and in your future. An investment is where you make a deposit today, but you benefit from it down the line. You make a deposit today, but you're going to be benefiting from it in the future, right? That's what investing is all about. I have investment accounts. Every time I get money, I take a portion of that money and I put it in an investment account, and I don't touch it, right? And the reason why I do that is because I want to make sure that my future is secure. That's what investing is all about. When you buy books, I have books that I've purchased, ebooks, audiobooks. I have books everywhere. And there are some of these books that have changed my life. There's a book by Vincent Lombardi Jr. called What It Takes to Be Number One. It taught me how to really be a boss, how to really, really be number one. Vincent Lombardi says something like this: winning is not the most important thing in life. Winning by the rules is. So being the best while following the rules of the game, that is important. There are people who try to win by tearing everybody else down. There are two ways to build the biggest building in a city. One is to tear everybody else down, so your building is the biggest. That's a lot of people do that. Or you can really work hard and build the biggest building in town, right? These are lessons that I've learned from books that I've read. They are investments that I made in myself. They have helped to make me who I am today, along with my experiences. So, Black girl, you're saying you want to talk about codependence. So if you have a question about codependence, leave that question. I'll talk to you about I'll answer your question if it's related to codependence, right? Man being dependent on the woman, or woman being dependent on a man, or what have you. What that looks like, why it's that way, and how you can either keep going or break the cycle, right? But I want you to stop. Go get this book called Move On. It is the 5 relationship deal breakers that let you know it's time to go. It's time to go. One of the keys in the book is, one of the deal breakers in the book is, when you no longer have peace. There are some men, and I'm sure some women too, they would prefer to work 10, 12, 13 hours a day. They would prefer to be at work than to be at home. Because when they get home, it's just so much chaos going on from the other person in the relationship. Right? All kind of chaos. Fussing, cussing, talking about. It's just, there's no peace in the home. In relationships, we are supposed to be a refuge, a safe place for one another, right? Some relationships are not like that. Listen, some people like chaotic relationships. They like that. But when you're with the right person, you will experience peace, not worry, none of that. Okay? So if you have a question leave it in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to talk about it. So let's talk about first. Let's talk about anxiety, because that's one of the first thing. Anything on anxiety. It is James says, what does it mean to be anxious? Right? Now I want you to listen to me, James. There are 3 states that we could be in. And each one takes effort, right? You can live in the past. And I talk about a guy I met a few weeks ago who had been out of jail for a year, but was in jail 25 years prior to that. And he could not get that out of his conversation. There's a book I wrote and I just released called Watch Your Mouth. He spoke about that all the time. About, man, you ain't in jail anymore. Why you keep talking about that? Because he wants people to feel sorry for him. So I told him, I said, as long as you talk about your past, you make it present. And as long as your past is present, you are destroying your future. Nobody cares about your past, man. We all made mistakes. But you keep it at the forefront of your conversation, and it is killing you, man. You're sitting in front of somebody who can help change the direction of your life, change the circumstances in your life, and all you have to talk about is the negative from your past. That's all. I didn't even know you had a past. You told me about it. So that's one state. Another state is to always be worried about your future. What's going to happen? You got to get there now. Things have to happen now, right? You just rush. You're anxious. That's anxiety. You don't know what's going to happen in the future, so you're trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future. So you're always thinking about the future, so you're anxious about the future. You're trying to get there before it's time. That's like trying to bake a cake, and you're supposed to leave the oven closed so that it can bake properly, and you keep opening the door, and then you wonder why the cake falls and it doesn't cook correctly because you're too anxious. You are pulling your your future back to your present, and you're not ready for that future. That's what anxious and anxiety is all about, right? That's another state that we live in. The best place to be is present, because that's the only thing you can control. It's to be where you are right now, doing what you can do right now. That's it. You can't change your past, right? You have no control over a future that you don't have your hands, your eyes, you're not in. You don't have any control over that, right? The only thing you have control over is right now. So where does our past, present, and future live? Where does it live? Right here. I've done some things in my past that I'm not proud of, but I am disciplined enough to not think about them. I've learned the lessons from them so that I don't repeat them. I have the mental discipline to not bring my past to my present. I have the patience, one of my superpowers, the discipline and patience to not worry so much about my future that I miss steps in my present. Mental discipline. I know I can't control my past. I know I can't do anything about my future yet, right? So I'm going to do what I have control of right now. That's it. It takes mental discipline. And so if you want to kill anxiety in your life, live in the now. You can't do nothing about next week. Nothing. You can't do nothing about next year. You can start to prepare for it, You can put in the work for it. You can plan for it, but you don't have no idea what's going to happen. You don't, right? You don't. So live in the present. Learn to focus and be in the now, right? I would love to sell 1,000 or more copies of this book tonight. Move on. But I don't control you. All I can do is talk to you and encourage you and tell you about the good that this book will do in your life, but you got to make a choice for yourself. And I don't worry about that. I don't. My job is to provide a resource for people to use to improve their lives. I will spend the rest of my life helping you to get to the next level in yours. And for anyone who wants to do that, they'll go buy the book. Some people won't, and that's cool with me. I don't have control over that at all, so I don't worry about it. My job is to just provide the information for you so that you make a decision. So we're talking about anxiety. Anxiety. Live in the now, the present. Appreciate the present. Control only those things that you can control, and that's usually what's in your hand. You understand? All right. So Frank says, where have you been? I've been right here. Good day. Good to see you too, Frank. Okay, so let's talk about codependence, right? So I really want to understand your question because I can give you a perspective on codependence, but I want to understand. Frank, thank you so much for telling me that I'm your mentor. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Again, I want y'all to listen to me now. I know what my purpose is. Okay? And I'm going to work hard at it. I will spend the rest of my life on this earth, God willing, helping you get to the next level in your life. That's my purpose. I know that's why I'm here. I've been doing that since I was 16 years old. But now in my 50s, it has really become crystal clear that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, along with other things, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And the medium of social media has allowed me to have an audience that I can speak to who needs this kind of content and help and resources like this book, Move On. So there's a couple of books that are there, and I'm going to talk about codependence in just a second. One is called Move On, the 5 deal breakers in relationships that tell you it's time to go. You got to get out of there, right? There's a book called Watch Your Mouth. Watch your mouth. There are things that you are saying every single day that's killing your relationships, your self-image, and your future, right? There's a book that's called Love Yourself. You love yourself, right? 15 keys to learning to love yourself more. One of the keys is we teach people how to love us by how we love ourselves. If I won't do it to me, I'm damn sure not going to let you do it to me. You understand? All right. And then there's a book there, a journal, the 30 Days of Success Journal. It is a journal that you go through for 30 days. I always recommend that people go through it January 1st and July 1st. First of the year and halfway through the year. Your life will improve if you follow the steps, if you follow the advice in that book over 30 days. Your entire life will improve. Now, how does it improve? What I'm doing is I'm getting stuff into your eyes through the book, into your brain, your thought, right? Now that it's in your thinking, you begin to say it so you can then become it, right? That's the only way we change, okay? We see it, we hear it, we say it, we think it, we become it, Okay, that's how it works. So these resources, that's the purpose behind it. There are people now. What is one of the other reasons why I wrote this book? Because there's a lot of people who ask me, "Well, should I stay? Should I go? Should I earn?" And I hear stuff from people, and I just wouldn't put up with it, right? I just wouldn't, because I love me enough to not let somebody. But again, I've been in situations where I have been shit on, and people said to me, "Man, why are you sticking around with that?" You know, people, "I love this person." Love ain't got, I learned that love has nothing to do with it. When a person really loves you, they're not going to abuse you. When a person truly loves you, they want to take care of you. When a person truly loves you, they will support you. When you love somebody, I'm talking about love, and I'm not talking about the feeling of love. Love are sacrificial actions you make towards someone without any expectation of a return. You take care of each other. That's what love is all about. So don't let love be the key word that people use to tell you, "Oh, I hit you, but I really do love you." No, if you loved me, you wouldn't have hit me. If you loved me, you wouldn't have called me a bitch ass, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you loved me, you wouldn't have said those things. Think first. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Out of the abundance of a man's thinking," or heart, by the abundance of men think, the mouth speaks. You said that because you were thinking about that. Someone got upset with me a few weeks ago. Someone close to me. And they said something to someone else because I was helping this other person that's close to me as well make a decision. And they said, "I'm never speaking to him another day in my life." I didn't do nothing to you. Okay, so I said to this person that told me this about what this other person said, I said, "Nothing about my life is going to change if they leave it. Not one thing. I love them, but not one thing is going to change. I'm not going to call and ask why you said that. No, you were thinking that all along." All right, so let's talk about, again, let me plug this. If you click the link in my bio, it'll give you access to all of the ebooks. This is the newest one. It was supposed to come out on Saturday. I got an amazing email this afternoon saying you got the green light. It is done. Thank you, Lord. It's time to move on. It's time to, not is it time, it's time to move on. The 5 relationship deal breakers that let you know it's time for you to go. Let's talk about codependence. Again, I would love to have a specific question about this, but I'll talk about codependence because I'm familiar with this as well. So I know a lady who had a grown son. When I say grown, I mean 30s, right? Who allowed that person to get away with talking to her any kind of way. This is a mother to her son, talking to her any kind of way, treating her any kind of way. And that dude still had a place to lay his head in her house. The question, Dan, what would your advice be? I said, I would call the cops and have him put out today. I will file a restraining order if I were you, so that he can never come around me ever. But that's my son. Okay, now watch now. But that's my son. I understand that. And the reason why I said this to her, and the reason why you really don't want to let go, is because you don't want to see your son struggle. You don't want to see your son, in the street. You don't want to see your son sleeping under a bridge. And you need him in your life because he helps to make you feel whole. Even though he's grown, right? He helps to make you feel like you have purpose in life. Because you could still be a mom to this grown ass man. So you're dependent on that. He is depending on you for a place to stay, for food to eat, for electricity so he can play Nintendo or Xbox or whatever the hell y'all play these days, right? He's dependent on you. You guys are dependent on each other. So that kind of relationship is unhealthy. Let me explain to you why. That's a codependent relationship. Husbands and wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, same thing. Ladies, if you have a man in your life and that dude ain't working and you hustling and working and keeping the house and the kids, and you're not forcing that man to go out and at least contribute, and all he does is you guys are together physically, right? That could be a codependent relationship. Sir, if you have a woman in your life and you're working and you're providing for this person, and you come home to a place that's nasty, and that ain't changing, right? You guys are supposed to be working together, to build together, to grow together. These codependent relationships exist in many shapes and forms. Here's a quick story. So, eagles, when they hatch, they're, let's call them baby eagles, chicks. They feed them, they take care of them, they nurture them. And when it's time for that eagle to leave the nest, what happens is that eagle, the ones that are ready to go, they jump out and fly and what have you. But there's, every now and then, there's one eagle, baby eagle chick, that is just reluctant, right? Reluctant to leave the nest. So this is what the mother eagle does. The mother eagle grabs that baby chick by its with its talons and goes way up in the sky, right? And this is what I told this lady. And she drops that eagle from high in the sky, 10,000, 20,000 feet, however high the eagle goes. Because here's what the mother eagle knows. That before her chick hits the ground, instincts will kick in, right? And that eagle will begin to fly. When we don't make people be adults, when we don't make grown-ups do grown-up stuff, when we always treat grown-ups like kids, right? It becomes a problem. And then you have this codependent relationship, and it just ain't cool. So it's something that you have to really, really think about, this codependence. Okay? So I hope that answers the question. I'm thinking that that's what you were talking about, and I hope that answers the question for you. But today we're talking about, is it time to move on? Is it time for you to move on? If you have a question, leave it in the comment section, and I will be happy to answer that question for you. All right? As I said to you before, I will spend the rest of my life helping you get to the next level in yours. So I want to just read something in this book, just a little sample so you can have it. Okay? About this book. This book is being written as a resource to help you grow in your life. Moving On highlights the challenges you may be facing in your relationships, and it is designed to help you reach answers you need to get to for yourself. When I was in the middle of a relationship, my last relationship, and I knew it was like, it wasn't good, right? I was I was caught between, should I stay? Should I leave? Should I give it a little bit more time? Can I do better? Are there some things that I can do, some changes I can make to help the relationship along? There was all kinds of stuff that I was asking myself. When the truth is, I should have said, that is not acceptable. If you do that ever in your life again, I will not be in your life at all. And by the way, I have not spoken to, seen, or talked to that person since I left. That was 8 years ago. The point I'm trying to make is, when I cut it off, I cut it off. I'm done, right? There's another book that's coming out in September. It's called Learning to Let Go, right? We hang on to stuff way too long. And there are reasons why in that book that help us to let go, to forgive, right? So we're going to talk about that as well. Everyone is different. No two relationship situations are alike. Look at your relationship after reading this book and make some good decisions for yourself. Some decisions are more challenging than others. Choosing to move on can be very difficult for some people, especially if you have invested significant time in the relationship, right? You have to choose the right path for you. Here are a few things I've helped coach others through. Them being worried about the amount of time that they've invested. I put all this time in the relationship. That time is going to be wasted. No time is wasted if you learn the lesson from the time. No mistake is a waste if you learn the lesson from the mistake, right? When you started to ride a bike and you fell a few times, you didn't stop trying. You learned that if I lean this way, if I lean that way, it helps. You learn the lessons from your failure. The times that you spend with somebody, there are lessons that you learn that will help to springboard and propel you higher in your life with the next relationship. Okay? You're wondering if you can do better. I went from, here to here in terms of, beauty and sexiness and all that good stuff. And so I didn't know, can I do better than this? By the way, I did way better, but I didn't know. In the middle of that, I was thinking to myself, should I just put up this because I don't know if I can do better than this, right? There's a lot of people who face that. And then the other thing is you're worried about what other people think. People are calling you, oh, you're a power couple. Y'all look good together. You've taken her to your house. You've been to her house. You've met the family. You guys have been together. You've been to functions together. You've been singing together. You may have even purchased a home together, or you have credit together. All of that stuff, right? You worried about what other people are going to say about it, about the relationship. And I got that too. Oh my God, I can't believe y'all broke up. What did you do? What did she do? That kind of thing, right? I cut off. What I did when that happens, I cut everybody off. Everybody that was a mutual connection, I cut them all off. I don't want to talk to you about it. I don't want to hear about it. I'm done. This person has crossed the line that they can never come back over. It's over, right? It was time for me to move on. It doesn't matter if some or all of this applies to you. Moving on can be challenging, and that's for sure. But my friend, you have to make the right decision for yourself. You have to make the right decision for yourself. Your happiness is on the line. If happiness is what you really want, you have to weigh the pros and the cons of your decision and do what is in your heart to do. My hope is you'll find answers you're looking for in this book. It's time to move on. 5 deal breakers. You deserve to be in a relationship where you are like, oh my God, this shit is awesome. Every bit of it. You're going to have some challenges, some disagreements, some things you talk about, some stuff you go through, right? But for the most part, 99.9% of the time, you guys are lockstep. Things are beautiful. You still holding hands if that's what you do. You still kissing. You still intimate. You still, you building you're building an empire together. Y'all doing y'all thing. You support her. He supports you. You support him. You know what I mean? Y'all doing it. You pick up the kids. They pick up the kids. You take care of the kids. Last summer, my wife and I, obviously all of us was going through COVID. I had to pick up the daddy duties to be a teacher. My wife is in the education field, and I had to spend time because she had to go to work. I had to spend time teaching my daughter. So I had to put on my teacher hat. That was my way of supporting my family, my daughter, and my wife by, working together to make those things happen. So I would say, babe, what do I need to teach? She knows, right? She would give it to me, and I would do my best to make sure I gave those lessons to my daughter. The point I'm trying to make is when you're in the right situation, man, that thing is beautiful. But when you are in the wrong situation, my friend, listen to me. It is time to move on. You got to go get this book. If you're in a tough situation, if you're looking at this live or a video on replay and you're asking yourself, should I not? That question right there almost answers itself for you. So what questions do you have that I can answer for you? I'm going to spend the next 15 minutes answering any question that you have about any subject because I want to make sure that I'm engaging in you and I'm adding value into your life. So if you have a question, leave it in the comment section. It's between me, you, us, all on this live. Let me answer those questions for you right now. Leave a question in the comment section. The new book is called It's Time to Move On. It's time to move on. 5 relationships. It's a mini book. It'll take you. I mean, you'll contemplate and ponder some things, but you can get through this book in a day. You'll reread it several times. My editing team went over and over some of the notes and some of the writings that I did, and they were like, "Wow, what do you mean by this? I mean, well, what happens if you have this?" And some of their lives were changed as they were going through some of the content. The way the process works for me is I will write, I will put all my thoughts down on paper, then I'll organize all of those, digital paper, right? We share a Google Doc. I'll put all of those thoughts down on paper, experiences, stories, steps, keys to get past it. And then they will read through it and just make sure it flows and it's right. But they're getting some nuggets from it too. They're getting some things from it too. And some of them will say, "Well, what do you mean by that? I mean, tell me what you mean by that. I mean, what direction are you going? And what if I'm facing this, right?" I'm like, "Listen, you're supposed to be, I mean, come on now. We're trying to get through this book now. I'm coaching them, counseling you, which I don't have a problem with doing. They know I love to do that. But they're getting something out of it as well. And I want you to. So if you have a question, and let me also say this, if you have a question and you're not comfortable with leaving it here, you can always send me a DM. I get tons of DMs after I do these lives and these video replays. I get tons of DMs of people who ask me questions based on the subject matter that we were discussing. Today we're talking about, is it time for you to move on? It's based on the new book that was just released today, 5 relationship deal breakers that let you know it's time to go. It's time to move on. If you click the link in my bio right now, you will see this ebook and you can buy this ebook right now. It's $8.99. That's it. Could $9 change your life and your relationship? I think it can. I tell this story all the time. One of my mentors from a distance was in an airport, went to the airport, bookstore. He was an author. He probably had, I don't know, 80, 90 books that he had written himself. Very, very wise man. He saw this guy's autobiography, thick book. He decided he was going to buy it. Got to the register, and it was $99.99, $100. So he whipped out his cash and he gave the cashier the money, and he bought the book. When he sat down, his assistant, who was with him, said, "Hey, I noticed you got this book. Why did you? You're an author. You got all these books. You teach, thousands of people around the world, how to, strategize, position their lives. Why did you buy this man's book? Why would you spend $100 on somebody else's book when you write so many yourself?" And his response, I'll never forget it. It's been 21 years. His response was, "Son, I did not just buy a man's book. I just purchased a man's life. What took this man 70 years to learn, I will know in just a few short hours." And that's what content in book form will do for you. So I encourage you, go to the bookstore right now. Click the link in my bio or link in the description of this video and go get the ebook now so that you can begin to change and transform your life. All right. If you have a question for me, send it to me. You can email me, or you can DM me, or you can leave it in the Q&A section, or you can leave a comment on any video. I'll be more than happy to answer it. I answer it. I answer it. When you get a heart on your comments, I heart you. I do. I heart it. Not my team. I do. Because I want to stay engaged with you. I will spend the rest of my life helping you get to the next level in your life. And I'll see you on the next live tomorrow. Take care.